All right, hello everyone, and welcome to the BTS Read podcast. This is your host Naya, and I'm joined by.
Hello everyone, it's Joe.
You probably know her from the last episode where we talked for like an hour and a half.
Sure did.
But she's back again. Also, if you don't know, she's my sister.
Yes.
And she's been in Army for at least 6 years because we got into them at the same time, right?
Late 2016.
Yeah, so it's going on 6 years.
That's not true. 2016. You said round the one.
So it's going on 6 years.
Is it really? No, it's not. It's
2022.
No, think of October 2016. So then October 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020.
21. Oh. Like I said, I know how to count.
Sorry.
Anyway. Anywho. Before we get started, I just wanted to say Happy New Year to everyone. I hope your New Year is going great so far. And yeah.
We're off to a good start.
Yeah.
Nothing bad has happened yet.
Knock on wood. Knock on wood. Yeah. Knock on wood. So I guess we didn't really have much planned to talk about today, except for one thing that people asked me to talk about, which was, if you followed me on my past Twitter account before I moved again, I went kind of on like a rampage.
A word vomit rampage.
Oh, I just like
it was eloquently put, but it's still word vomit.
Well, the thing is, I had already said that I was moving accounts and that I had bones to pick with people, so I was just going to like air it all out before I left that account, and that's what I did. I don't even know what prompted it, to be honest. I feel like I blacked out. But obviously it was probably like Stray Kids fans or something. It had to be Stray Kids fans. Now I'm thinking about it because they're usually the ones who always run in their mouth. But
I think they're the only ones that could evoke this much rage out of you.
I mean, because I can't stand them. I genuinely can't stand them. Okay, let's start all the way over before I get to the tweet that like was the tweet heard around the world. Let's start with like my relationship with Stray Kids. I don't know much about them other than their fans are quite literally like the most. What's the word? When they're
delusional.
No.
Annoying.
Insufferable.
Yeah, annoying.
Insufferable. I meant insufferable. That's what I meant. Because like you said, we were here for when they released that Elevator.
Yeah, that period. First beginning music.
And I'm being quite honest with you, I didn't like Elevator. So from the jump, I wasn't really interested in them. But the thing about Stray Kids was the way that their fans marketed them to get people into them. They used they're the next BTS to market them to people, to make them seem alluring. I remember distinctly, they were like, actually, they're better than BTS because they don't have a problematic past. Most of them can speak fluent English, so on and so forth.
As if that's supposed to be a drag.
But they stood 10 toes down in that, and they used that for years. They used the fact that they were the next BTS, which most boy groups and their fans do, but that's for a reason I'll talk about later. We know why they do that.
Also, to add in the fact that I think it was their first official single, because Elevator wasn't an official.
Yeah, it wasn't an official.
It wasn't what is it called? Debut.
Yeah.
Their first one was a clear knockoff of No.
Oh.
And armies got into it with them then because we were like, are they not? And they because marketing wise, JYP was like, they're all about activism, like activism for the youth. For the youth. Like they care about the youth, and that's their main message, and they fight back. And I mean, I will say they've kept that whole thing, they've kept that going. That was a whole conversation between armies and stays in the beginning, because it was just like, so we're going to act like they didn't just steal their entire debut. We're just not going to talk about that. And then you got stays acting like they're the next BTS, or they're just Stray Kids.
It's so funny because this is past the point of just Stray Kids. It's for every boy group fandom that does this each and every time they debut. In trying to make BTS seem not as important or not as influential, they do exactly that by being like, they're the next BTS. They like, and it's like they try to distance them by saying they're the next BTS, but only further curse them. It literally always comes back to bite them in the ass.
Yes,
literally every single time.
But they use BTS as this benchmark for their fave success, and then don't realize that they've now pinned their fave success to BTS. And then get confused when people are like, they can't do anything without BTS.
BTS being associated.
But it's like, if y'all had just kept it to yourselves, we wouldn't be in this situation.
But back to what I was saying. After Elevator, the whole shtick was they are the next BTS. They're better than BTS. They don't have no problematic past, so on and so forth. They stand up for things, so on and so forth. And obviously, like Joe said, armies got into it with them then because we were like, why do you even need to bring up BTS in order to, like, get these boys some attention. Like, I don't know why you need to do that. Now, mind you, this was also towards the beginning of BTS being like super duper popular and people using their name.
Was it 2017?
Yeah, it was like around 2017. So like it obviously was them using BTS's name, but it obviously didn't have the same type of like impact tying BTS to a group does now. Like obviously.
Yes.
But still, it was just odd because it's just like, why do you need to mention BTS in order for these boys to have a debut? Like, just let them debut and become whatever they're going to become. Like, it should not even include BTS, but whatever.
Right.
So that we went into it with that. I already didn't like them. So like from jump, I was like, okay, like I don't like y'all, but just stay over there. And they did, to be honest
for
with
a
you.
while. They
did kind of just like exist in their own realm until like
2019.
Yeah, I was like until like 2019. And it's so funny because the rise in like other fandoms always come
with a mass exodus of
with
armies.
with the mass exodus of armies. And obviously BTS gained a lot of fans to make up for that mass exodus, but there were still people who unstand.
Yep.
Like, that's just a fact.
Yep.
We see that now because they're all in these other fandoms who won't leave us the hell alone. Anyway, I'll get into that later. But during Boy Was Love, a lot of people pretended to understand. I say pretended only because they still keep up with BTS, but
have them in their Wrapped.
Yeah, but
every year.
Right, but you know what I mean. They made the whole show of like, I can't do this anymore. They only want to release pop, and we want real men, not boys in pink and singing about love.
The way I know what exactly you're talking about. She's like, this is the comeback. What did she say?
Because she was talking about Super M.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and she was like, well, I want to see like chains and bondage. We were like, you're not serious.
Oh yeah, but they were dead serious, and you can, and they're still serious about it. The people who are manties now, and the people who claim to still stand them, but always have an issue with everything that they do, especially concept wise. All they want is for BTS to do the same shit that all these
everybody
other
else is
the dark concepts that these other boy groups are doing. That's all they've ever wanted from BTS, and they're not going to be happy with anything else. Literally, never. But that's beside the point. So as there was a mass exodus from BTS's fandom, a lot of those people went to Stray Kids fandom. And so that's when they started being like super obnoxious, because it was full of just a bunch of people who only stand out of spite of BTS. And so they made everything about BTS and about competing with BTS and beating BTS. And like I said earlier, you can see that with boy groups like NCT, The Boys. Like, there's a lot of groups where most of their fandom is consistent of ex-armies.
And solely ex-armies.
And you can tell because, like I said, they're the ones who are constantly in BTS's business, constantly bringing up, old shit, stuff that they know because they were in the fandom. Anyway, so around then, that's when they started getting really annoying. But like I said, that's because they were ex-armies. And kind of just from then on, as people left the army fandom, they kind of gravitated to those three specific fandoms in particular. And Stray Kids fans, as of recently, their stays, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Their stays have just been
fucking unbearable.
Awful. Unfucking bearable. And I've noticed most of the time they get loud because Stray Kids or members of Stray Kids do things that contradict that narrative they were trying to push in the beginning.
Like that literal audio message of Chan that just came out.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Yeah. Like, they've literally banked their boys' entire, appeal and allure off being, better than BTS. And so when that shit, doesn't work.
Come back. And the apple comes back to bite. Granny Smith.
The Granny Smith apple comes back to bite. They are at a loss for words. They don't know what to do except for lash out at BTS and armies because they, for whatever reason, in their head, it's our fault, specifically BTS's fault, for their new group not being better than BTS. And it's just or if you had just moved on and not stand these groups out of spite solely for BTS, your whole relationship with the group wouldn't be contingent on BTS. But
then it's this vicious cycle. So the groups themselves want to be just like BTS because they want the same success.
Yes.
And they see that old BTS fans are coming to them. So it just keeps going.
Yes.
Because the fans are old fans of BTS, the groups will feed into that.
Yes.
And they'll do content that BTS does. Like all those groups suddenly doing In the Soups.
Yes.
Shit like that, you know?
And having their own, like, universe.
Right? They'll feed into it. So then it's like, then they're getting more traction and more fame for doing shit that BTS does. So then it's like, at some point down the line, they aren't even their own groups anymore. They're BTS.
Tethers.
Yeah, tethers. It's a lot. Like, when everyone could just be themselves.
When everyone could just be who you are.
Be who you are. Oh, that's funny.
No, because actually I was saying, what was I going to say? Oh, that's what I was going to say. Because I've tweeted about this before, where it's like these ex-armies or whatever go and unstand and then look for groups that are just as similar as possible to BTS. So it's just like, you still want to stand, it's just you don't want to stand BTS. Like, you want the BTS experience, you just don't want BTS.
For whatever odd reason. And then all that, they're compromising music and personality. So it's like they're just losing altogether.
Together. And it just doesn't... For them. Not
Not
for me,
for
though, because I still stand BTS.
At the end of the day, this is how we feel about Stray Kids.
Yes.
So, fans. This is the cycle that we're talking about that led to this tweet.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. About people who still... The manties who are still here, the solos that are still here, and the people who just don't want to let go because they no longer, resonate with BTS. It's so meta because they want them to follow after these fourth generation boy groups who are following after BTS.
Yes. So they want them to chase their own tail.
Right.
And BTS are like, I'm not going to do that.
BTS said, I'm not going to do that. Like, do you know how stupid that is?
Sounds? No. You want me to be like the new groups that are trying to be like me.
Like, do you know how fucking meta that is? And people be dead serious. They're completely serious. They want BTS to follow after people following after them.
You know what they want? They want BTS to be insecure.
Ooh.
Because this whole narrative, and BTS have talked about it, this whole narrative, you're too old, age out, blah, blah, blah. And do what with that? Because then everybody that follows them is about to crumble as well.
Wait, because they built their entire fan base, their entire promotional, experience, their entire entire being is based off of BTS.
Anything after third gen, there's no way that all these groups don't have BTS at the center of their work. Do you mean because either it's they want BTS's success, they want to garner the same type fandom as them,
yes,
or they want to garner the same type of merchandise or the way that they run the industry.
Yep, their content.
Everything is revolving
around
them.
Yes.
There's nothing, nothing happens in a vacuum. There's nothing going on in that industry. No changes that are made. No retaliation that happens, especially from, let's say, SM. Do you know what I mean? Ooh. All that is revolved around these 7 men.
And also, how long are we going to pretend these groups aren't... They're tethered. And not trying to be, whatever... But, they are BTS's sons. We know this. We have eyes.
And that's they know this.
I was like, but that's the whole reason you're even drawn to them.
Is that not the same way all of them suddenly, I want a Grammy. For what? For what? What did you do that is worth getting any type of, what did you do?
Be Korean and be in the K-pop music and be in the K-pop music industry with BTS at the same time as BTS. That's a whole nother
conversation. Carrots, I'm talking about you and your men. That's ridiculous.
Because how you completely bypass a Daesang and go straight to I want a Grammy?
You haven't even gotten a Daesang. Maybe we can get a Grammy too. First of all,
are you out of your? I almost cussed. Are you out of your mind?
There's a long list of artists that need to get Grammys, and I'm telling you, you and your faves are not anywhere close to the top.
Not anywhere close to the top of that list.
It's entitlement and envy because they don't respect BTS.
Yep.
That's why we're seeing all this happening. That's why people think it's okay to talk out of turn.
Yes.
All this crazy shit. Why your idols even think to say some stupid shit like that ever in their life? Because they don't respect them. They don't respect the work that they've done, the path that they've taken to get to this success, the amount of hits that they've taken, being the first ones to do it.
Yep, the turmoil they had to go through.
They don't respect that shit, and they don't believe that BTS worked hard for it, and that is a hard pill to swallow. And that's also why they're not getting anywhere, because they don't believe that BTS did anything to earn it. So they believe they should have it right now. And their stupid ass fans think the same thing.
Which in itself is so weird to me, considering that most of them, are ex-army. So you know exactly what BTS had to go through in order to get to where they're at. So why the hell do you think that now that just doesn't apply to anybody else?
No, but for me, this all really boils down to respect. And a lot of people need to learn some. Like, seriously.
No, seriously.
Like, you should, like, the audacity. I'm stuttering. That's how mad I am. The audacity for them to even talk out of turn when they already know what BTS has gone through and what they've done to get to these places. A lot of you should have some fucking shame, and you don't. But don't worry, that's what we're here for.
Yes, we're here to shame you. Shame. No, because, like, I know armies, like, we've had to be the bigger person. I understand that. A lot of us, the people who are attracted to BTS, the people that they draw, most of them, are always the better person in these types of situations. I get that. However,
it's a new year.
It's a
new
new year.
Resolution.
It's a new year, but like, in general, I have always been the type of person where, like, I'm just not going to allow bullshit to happen in front of me. You know what I mean? Like, no matter what it is. So I've taken it upon myself to bear the cross of being the bearer of bad news.
Somebody's gotta do it.
I don't care how upset K-pop stans get. I don't care how many times they try to, like, run me off Twitter, run me off of any platform. It's just not happening. I don't care. Like, it's going to be said regardless.
You know what makes it worse is that people believe that these behaviors stay online. They don't.
Nope.
Remember, I worked at a K-pop store. They're like this in person. The same audacity in a K-pop store full of BTS merch because they're the only one that sells. Talking about, why don't I see my faves? They're just as good. Are they? Are they selling? Because the same way you're complaining, you're not buying anything for your faves.
Ooh.
But these behaviors happen in real life.
Yep.
Where Naya does a lot of this work online, I do a lot of this humbling offline. I just think the work needs to be done. We have created a nice team, you know? 2 different spears. But the work is necessary.
No, like, and that's what I'm saying, like, people...
I feel like a Jehovah's Witness.
I know, a purple Jehovah's Witness. No, because, like, on Twitter, you know, I'll stay private, and most of the time I'll give my commentary, but most of the time I'll just scroll past. Because, like, at the end of the day, some of it is just so ignorant, it doesn't even need to be addressed. However, when there's things that, like, genuinely start to piss me off, like the Stray Kids thing that led me to tweet what I twote. That led me to tweet what I twote. I feel like sometimes armies are just too nice, and they won't just say what needs to be said. Out of fear, and not out of fear, mostly. Some of it out of fear of not wanting to be dogpiled. I understand that. That's not for everybody. But also because they feel like there's no need to stoop down to their level. However, I don't care about any of that. I am going to say what I'm going to say. I don't care if you like it or not. And that's exactly what happened. I think Joe has the tweet.
I do. You want me to read it off?
Yeah, you can go ahead and read it off.
Do the honors?
Yeah, go ahead and read it off.
Okay. Twitter, in collective hysteria, has really convinced #them that these groups are more successful than they actually are, and now they're learning the hard way. ... So, let me make it a harder pill to swallow. Any newfound success any group has had in the last few years is an after effect of the success and popularity and hypervisibility BTS has brought to K-pop as a whole. It's not because they've gotten better, it's because BTS has been generous enough to give them their leftovers. Leftover attention, leftover opportunities, leftover awards, and most importantly, leftover fans. Now turned into antis. Please remember this moment of humiliation and despair the next time you forget that. God bless.
Right. So, and now I'm remembering the context. It was because it was Mama. That's what it was. Oh. It was Mama. And Stray Kids fans have been literally for like a month straight talking about
trying to go against
because they were up for a day saying, and they were like, in voting we're winning, we're gonna beat BTS. Now mind you, they've also been antagonizing armies for months because BTS haven't released an album this year and they only had like a few singles. And so obviously Stray Kids having constant comebacks, they were charting higher at some points during the year, the BTS. And so their obviously first immediate response is to make it about BTS and about how much Stray Kids is watching them, how much better they've gotten, and how they're on BTS's ass and BTS better watch out, so on and so forth. So fast forward to Mama, end of the year award show, and I believe one of the Daesangs was fan voted or partially fan voted, and they happened to be winning at the fan voting. Now armies, I understand why we kind of weren't paying attention to it at that time.
Wasn't it also concert?
Yeah, it was. It was during the concerts. It was during the AMAs.
We had other stuff to be.
We had other stuff that we were paying attention to. So obviously they were ahead of us because that's all they have going for them at the moment. So because of that, they were like, it's safe enough of a gap. Let's start antagonizing armies. And so they started being like, we're going to take this from BTS, and, they'll be the first group to like, get a day saying over BTS, and like how many years are in blah, 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 blah. And so armies obviously were like, bump
not
this.
Gonna happen.
No, like, bump this. That's definitely not gonna happen. Especially not some Stray Kids.
But especially if you're gonna use this as some type of marker to pretend like they're better than BTS.
They're better than BTS, or that BTS's like reign has come to an end or some shit. Armies obviously started voting. Stays realized that they were not in the position to be talking the way that they were talking, and so they tried to gather other K-pop stands to help them vote. At the end of the day, armies won. But then because they were like, well, they're still the judges' votes, and BTS aren't going to Mama, so it's, it could go either way. And the day came, and though BTS wasn't there,
sure enough,
that shit still went to them. And it was more than just that day sing as well, because other K-pop stands had been hoping that BTS's absence meant that the day sings were going to go to other individuals, and it did not go that way.
This was a perfect example of that comment that I feel like we made it on another podcast. But just because BTS will be absent doesn't suddenly mean your faves will be taking up that space.
And that is where I tweeted that, because I was like, this is them learning the hard way. It don't matter that BTS isn't there. It doesn't suddenly make your fave better or eligible or comparable.
It just is what it is.
And it is what it is.
It really is.
And so they were obviously throwing fits. They're like, this is just so rigged. Now, mind you, Mama earlier in the year made a public announcement that they were changing the way that the votes went because they wanted it to be more fair. Mm-hmm. K-pop stands were throwing all types of parties. They said, finally, it'll be about quality and not about quantity. Finally, real talent will win. Finally.
Sure did.
And then the night came, and quality and real talent won.
Yeah.
And it wasn't their face.
They weren't very happy
about that. But that is not our nor BTS's problem. And so that's what I said. Obviously, I probably could have said it nicer, but I didn't want to, because they don't deserve nice. They deserve to have their feelings hurt and for them to be told the truth. Like, you are a leftover. That's why you're constantly in BTS's face. You're constantly comparing everything your new fave does to BTS. You're a leftover. That's why we can go through your tweets.
See, you talking about, June, I miss you so much.
Go to 2019, 2020 and see you under their posts. Because you were an ex-army. You're a leftover. You're a leftover. And that's just, it is what it is. But the girls were not happy about that. They were not happy about that at all. Not one bit.
I mean, I think first off, that happens with any group of people, no matter the subject, when they refuse to admit the truth. That's like, they'll just lash out immediately.
Yeah.
Which I think we've had that conversation a lot of times, that K-pop stans, a lot of them, I'm not generalizing, whatever, but like a lot of them refuse to look in the mirror ever. Ooh. Like the whole reason you left BTS is because you're insecure and you don't want to grow as a person. And you don't want to continue to be a better person. Ooh. You hate the fact that they encourage you to do better and to do more, because that's a lot of work. Ooh. So you're already like that type of person. Ooh. Let's start there. And then to be told you're that type of person, then that makes them very upset. And then to have it in your face that, like, no matter how much you pretend you're not that type of person, you are that type of person. And that's why none of your projects, none of the things that you aspire towards go right. Ooh. Listen, I'm all about spirituality. I think it happens with everything. And, like, attitudes go into everything that you do. And that's why they didn't win. They didn't have the right attitude. They didn't want to.
Womp womp. And actually, and everything you just said is actually something I think I said in one of the earlier episodes. I think it was the second one. Like, how much, I think it says how many, I think it was like how many.
The Tootsie Roll.
Yeah, like how many licks does it take to get to the bitterness of an Nancy? Let's find out.
Come on.
But that's
a trademark. Let's put that shit on the shirt. Come on. Your endeavors will never, and this is including your endeavors to get your faves to be BTS, they're never going to work.
Never going to be
successful. Because you don't have the good intentions to start with.
Ooh. Your sole intention is just so that you can beat someone else.
You can out someone else.
It's not going to work.
Who worked hard for that spot.
It's not going to work.
You don't even want, that's the thing. Like, wouldn't you want your faves to want more for themselves, to not even want to be BTS's tethered?
Ooh.
Shouldn't they want to create their own paths? That's
their
weird.
Own legacy?
That's weird. Whatever. I'm not going to go on a rant about the anti-soul, but I know it's not that serious, but I do think about these things. I did have a comment, though.
Oh, what?
Oh, I wanted to address, because they couldn't find much, like, whatever. They couldn't find any problems with the tweet, because I was going to say, like, fallibility or whatever.
Yeah.
They couldn't find any problems with the tweet. So once again, black K-pop stans running to the front lines to use and weaponize their blackness to suddenly invalidate a tweet and taking Naya's words out of context because Naya said hypervisibility and trying to make it... Like, I just wanted to clear that up right now before anybody starts any stupid shit. Like, hypervisibility, yes, though it is used in the context of, like, blackness a lot, that's not the definition of the word.
Wait,
like,
it definitely exists outside of that.
Yeah, to be more visible, to be, like astutely visible. Like,
yes.
just to be incredibly visible.
That's literally it. That's literally it. And the thing is, that's what they do. When they have nothing else to say,
derail,
deflect. That's literally what they do because they literally had nothing else to say to me. Like I think there was like a total of like it was either 5,000 retweets and 3,000 quote retweets, or it was 3,000 retweets and 5,000 quote retweets.
Yeah.
Either way, there was a lot of fucking quote retweets, and throughout all of it, nobody could disagree with me.
Right?
They were just like, "Army's so weird. Army's this. But nobody was combating what I said. You're a leftover. We know this. I'm saying you know this. Like I said, that's why we can go through your tweets back a few years and see you under BTS's tweet being like, thank you for saving my life. Like,
right?
We can do that. We can always do it. It never fails.
But
you're
also,
a leftover.
One thing you're never going to do is call me or Naya stupid. We're way too smart for that. Like, we're not, like, you're not, like, over a word, a singular word, that's supposed to invalidate the entire conversation. You wrote a paragraph.
And they
in one word. Are you serious?
Because they were looking for anything. Literally. And that's why. And that's exactly why I am really entertaining. Because I was like, you trying really hard right now. But it's not going to work. I said what I said.
But it's like, it wasn't even a valid concern. Like, it wasn't like, hey, I found that harmful. Like, no, like, just, you're anti, like,
and also,
tone it down.
And also, I mean, if we want to dissect it, like, about, like, what I said, I didn't lie. Leftover opportunities, there's a reason why James Corden is now the new M Countdown.
Come on.
Like,
what is it, Ngayo?
Ngayo. There's a reason why they're going to Kelly Clarkson. It's because she couldn't get BTS.
Duh.
There's a reason why they're going to fucking Nick Cannon. It's because they couldn't get BTS.
I was just looking at the tweet, TMI K-pop, although I hate that account.
Yeah.
They do give nice statistics.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you know what I mean? But I was just looking at it because I had bookmarked it in preparation for this. But it was the tweet in which she was explaining that a lot of K-pop sales in general, I don't have the numbers, I need to find it. A lot of K-pop sales in general around the time of BTS releasing concert tickets, a lot of other K-pop groups, their album sales went up because fans were disgruntled for not getting tickets to the BTS concert. Is that not a direct, offspring? Because they couldn't get tickets to the BTS concert, which half of them in real life pretend like they don't even like BTS. Which we could get into that anyways, but we're not going to because that's a long conversation. Half of them shouldn't even be trying for BTS tickets, but they tried, couldn't get them, and because they were upset, they bought other groups' merch and music. Everybody say thank you, BTS.
No, like, thank you, BTS.
Right.
Like, there's a reason why all these boy groups suddenly hit 1 million sellers this year.
There are multiple reasons.
For the million seller thing, it's because they're buying because of those photo cards. They're mass buying because of photo cards. The bot thing would be if they had streams to match, but they don't. Which is why BTS was the only boy group to end up on, like, I think it was like Hanteo. I can't remember say it.
Go on Hanteo,
and Ho on charts. They're the only boy groups on the fucking list.
You see, today they got like it was like 400,000 streams for the month quote unquote of January 2022.
It's been
day. One day.
It's the first day, and they got half a million new listeners. Like, are you serious?
Right.
And once again, like I said, upward success of any surrounding K-pop group always coincides with a mass exodus from the ARMY fandom. Now, like I said, that doesn't mean that BTS didn't get more fans. It's just there were people that left. We all saw what happened with Permission to Dance. We saw the way niggas acted with Permission to Dance. We know exactly why a lot of people unstand, quote unquote, and left, quote unquote.
Unstand just to try to go get tickets to a Permission to Dance concert, right?
I
got a big bone to pick about LA concerts, but we're going to be positive, as if we've been positive, but we're going to be positive today.
No, we could, I think that's what our next
we're going to talk about LA.
Is that the whole LA trip, the whole Permission to Dance, like, all that, we got a bone to pick. We got a bone to pick.
But it was a wonderful experience overall. Just wanted to end with that little note for that before I Because I feel like I'm so negative on here. I'm trying my best, guys. It's not on purpose.
I'm not trying to be negative, I swear. But anyway, yeah, no. So, leftover performances, leftover opportunities. What else did I say?
I don't know.
Leftover concepts. I mean, but like, did I lie? Did I lie? No, because like we said, now everybody want to do their own universe, and they all telling a story throughout all their music videos.
You're my universe.
Like,
I remember literally like watching. I got 10 seconds. I said no way.
Perfect example of leftover concepts. What was that? What's that thing that Super M did? That their like most recent one where they were in like the washing, like it was like a mix of like Boy with Love and like Dynamite and Spring Day.
They had the disco clothes on with like
the washing machine of Spring Day and then like
Omelas.
Yeah, and it's just like
ridiculous.
We all know. We all have eyes. Let's stop playing like ditzy here. We can see. No, like we can see and use common sense and know that these groups are taking what's left over from BTS's old concepts. We know that.
Also getting to me is that it's armies who were here in 2015. So even let's say you were a teenager at the time of all this, we're all grown now.
We're grown now.
We're grown.
We know that you can use some deductive reasoning.
We have comprehensive skills, deductive reasoning.
We know
skills.
that you know what's going on here. You're purposely being obtuse.
Why are you playing stupid?
You're purposely being obtuse to push a narrative, but it's not gonna work. Especially when your faves themselves constantly prove our point,
and also pushing this narrative to new K-pop fans, knowing damn well they don't have any
true contextual
historical,
understanding of like why armies are like this is mad familiar.
Because one thing I don't like is liars.
It's a liar.
I don't like liars.
Don't like liars.
And neither does BTS. Yeah, but that's the rant.
I hope I answered the questions of people who want me to talk about the leftover tweet. I've also been seeing people use it as a like a slur for K-pop fans. You said you leftover, and I fully support it. Go ahead, do what you got to do with it. You know how I feel about it.
Yeah, I just want to say like one disclaimer: if any stays are listening, this is the only time we will be talking about you. We're not going to give you any more attention whatsoever. So I don't even want to see that argument or like any like we're so important to talk. No, you're not. It's just context. Understanding. I needed to get some heat off about stays. Naya needed to get some heat off.
And that's the tweet, and that's literally it.
Yeah, we're not going to be talking about it
any further.
Any other time. So you don't have to tune in for the next one. You're good. Just letting you know so you don't waste your time. Armies, I love you.
The ambulance going off in the background.
Call an ambulance, but not for me. Sorry, that's probably someone's like actually getting it. I'm so sorry. That was so insensitive. I'm so sorry. And that's the end.
Yeah, that's the end. Thank you for joining us for this episode.
Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, you'll probably be getting another episode very soon.
Right after.
Like right after.
Back to back.
Yes, double feature. All that good stuff.
Come on.
All right, team. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Have a good New Year.